Lights, camera, lights, camera. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to write on this. Y'all, what's up? I'm back for book review number 2. You know, the first book review was serious, but this one's also gonna be serious because we're a serious channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica Mance. I make videos. There's no structure here on this channel, so we're just having fun. We're having fun. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I still have subscribers, although I think I lost one. Did you not like my sobriety book review? Is it because I gave it a 3? Fine, I'll be nicer, okay? No more losing subscribers. My goal was 145 subs for the month of September. Today, I have 126. All right, that's like a lot less. We need to change this. Together, we can change the world. So hit that subscribe button and let's get into this. All right, y'all. Today, we are reviewing Elliot PAGEBOY. I have been a fan of Elliot's Page early work, and I'm not just saying Juno. I'm talking about American Crime, which you should only watch once ever because it's so terribly sad. And Hard Candy is a good movie, but you know, there's other movies, Inception, and I just started Umbrella Academy after reading this book, and I really enjoyed the first episode, and it's hard to get me into series, so can't wait to see the progression of that show. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about books, okay? And this is the book that I'm reviewing right now. I love memoirs, okay? I love them. Especially when if it's someone that I really relate to. And after reading this book, wow, do I feel like we have more in common. I could not, I had finished this at work, actually. I could not stop reading. I was just at work, I was feeling relate to this person so much, and it's bizarre to think that I was a fan of this person's work and they were feeling all of these terrible feelings, and I'm here thinking they're the coolest person ever. They're hanging out and being cool and whatever, and meanwhile they're actually suffering. It's really sad when you don't know the behind the scenes of whatever anyone is going through. Now, I said from my last book review, I'm gonna try to keep it fun. So I'm gonna try to keep it fun. There was a reoccurring thing in this book, and I just had to bring it up. It's a Canadian thing, and it's not just Elliot Page. It's Seth Rogen that be talking real loud about something I feel really uncomfortable with. All right, do you want to know what that is? I'm gonna show you. What I have in this box is scary business. All right, us Americans, we have small brains. We don't understand the significance this has on Canada. But after reading this book, I said, I have to try it. I have to. If you guessed ketchup chips, then you're right. We're gonna taste that ketchup chips because it came up in Elliot's book a couple of times, and I saw an interview with Seth Rogen the other day, and he was also talking about ketchup chips. So I was like, it's time to try this out. I don't know how this is balancing on my head. Book review / ketchup chip review. Are y'all ready for this? Where is my unofficial holder? Here it is. Why is it all the way over here? Oh, I need to figure something out with this. Oh no. I love how I don't figure this out prior to recording. I know I'm making this video and I don't bother to figure it out before. I'm gonna figure out while filming. Oh my god. All right. Over here on this channel, we have like the best equipment, obviously. We're gonna start with, I love how I left my notes. It smells like barbecue chips. Guys, I left my notes. There's chips all over the ground. Hold on. Oh my God. One day I'm gonna have my own studio, y'all. I won't have to do all this. Ketchup chips. We're having an awful time here. Elliot, if you're somehow watching this, I'm so sorry that half the video is just me figuring it out. That's how it's looking like. Let's zoom in on a couple of chips. This is also a snack review. Look at this. We're gonna try one. Okay. I don't know what to say about that chip. It kind of tastes like French fries with chips, with French fries. French fries with ketchup. Guys, we're here for a book review. Okay, it's not going to be emphasized on just chips. First of all, one of the things that we relate on is Elliot. He loves reading Kurt Vonnegut. And if you don't meet him, I also like Kurt Vonnegut. I used to think Kurt Vonnegut was only for like white men. I'm starting to actually like this. But on page 7, he says, unable to sleep, I snuck out into the fluorescent hallway around 5 a.m. I sat on the floor to read. Kurt Vonnegut was the first writer I ever really liked, thumbing the nose at you-know-who. It just makes me feel like so much cooler. Like, if I were ever to meet this person, I'd be like, hey, I like Kurt Vonnegut too. Like, moving forward, page 16. All right, kiddos, if you have a book, turn the page. Those were some of the best times of my life, traveling to another dimension where I was me, and not just a boy, but a man who could fall in love and be loved back. Why do we lose that ability to create a whole world? A bunk bed was a kingdom. I was a boy. I feel that this has more of a general thing that anyone can just relate to. The idea of losing the ability to play imagination, or like to give into your imagination and do things that you used to do as a kid. I told my friend, like, didn't you ever used to build forts? And like, no, I never had that experience. I'm just like, why don't we just build a fort? Like, it's so much fun to do kid stuff, to like imagine a whole different world. Like, why do we lose that ability? It's like we lose a part of that childhood, that child in us. And I'm not saying you have to act like a kid the entire time, but I would say that even when you do want to act like a kid, you don't get that anymore. You sincerely lose that ability to just imagine. And it is sad because when he says, you know, I was a boy, it kind of gives me flashbacks of my childhood and how I used to wish I was a boy, because they had all the cool toys. We got to wear like cool shorts and cool shirts, and you got to be dirty. It just seems so much more fun to be a boy. So I could relate to that. Pretty heavy. But what I could relate to more, and I think what more people could relate to, is the idea of not being able to have that ability to imagine and to create a whole nother world for ourselves. Like, I really do feel that I lost that very young, let's say before I hit the teens. And that's very sad. And that's something I really want to work on, because we should be able to imagine a whole new world and have fun. I don't want to ever lose that ability. A lot of what I'm trying to do right now is gain back and save little Erica Mance from so much and try to heal her as much as possible. So I really need to like give myself those experiences and not lose that ability, if that makes sense. Page 23. And I don't know why I actually underlined this. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I just liked how it was written. Elliot is just talking about how they moved to a certain neighborhood that in 1994 there's like a bomb explosion or something that happened, and whatever. It just says a neighborhood shaped by devastation. And it was just interesting to think about that, considering all the it's the ketchup chips, it's throwing me off. I feel that I'm not sure if this was supposed to have specific outlook on the book, but I just really liked how that town hydrostone was explained, just like a neighborhood shaped devastation. For me, it's, and I don't know if Elliot was going for that, but it's like overcoming something, overcoming all like life's obstacles. Like you're still shaped by even like the worst odds. And I don't know if that was intentional, but I just like the wording. You know what? These chips are starting to grow on me. I'm not gonna lie. Cause I don't like salt and vinegar chips. And I could taste salt and vinegar up in this. It tastes a little vinegary, I should say. I don't like tomato. I don't like ketchup. So I was expecting the worst, but... Now, I don't know if this was the first time ketchup chips was mentioned in this book, but it was page 25, where Elliot and his mom used to watch the hockey game, Toronto Maple Leafs, with a huge bag of this. That's a fond memory. I like that. I really fuck with that. The whole video is just me eating this. Okay. So I get to chapter 7. I read, "This is around when I was arriving at an age where being a tomboy was no longer a cute look. The lurking pressure to change was omnipresent, a consistent state of disapproval. I imagine she prayed for me not to be gay." He's referring to his mother. I feel that a lot because I was also a tomboy trying to fit in, and it was getting later and later on in my life and I was not changing. It was just becoming stronger, like how uncomfortable I was in dresses and skirts and heels and jewelry. Like I didn't like any of these things. I think the last time I wore a dress was probably 4th or 5th grade. I can't even remember the last time I had earrings on or lipstick or anything like that. I just felt so... Family was like, they didn't express it, and I knew my sister knew I was that way for a reason, but like compared to the rest of my family, it was really difficult. And it's not just family, it's people surrounding, it's teachers, it's friends, it's strangers, it's media, like what you're watching and how it can make you feel very isolated for being a tomboy. I hated guys really because they would make me... I got my period in like 4th grade, so I grew in very early on and it was very uncomfortable, and especially dressing as like a tomboy or whatever. If I were to ever wear like a tight shirt, it was just, I got unwanted attention. This is why like I just don't feel comfortable in these clothing, and then like when I'm forced to dress a certain way, I get this attention and it makes me feel even worse. It gives me more of a, nah, I don't like this and I don't mess with it. Sometimes I feel like my mom maybe didn't want me to come out this way. Maybe. I can never really confirm, but could be a possibility. These are dusty, dude. What have you done, Elliot? Moving on. Page 72. Did you just call me a effing maggot with an F? I feel like I might get in trouble on YouTube. F you, I yelled repeatedly as a few people standing on the sidewalk watched. Genesis pleaded for me to calm down. He walked off. I think about that moment a lot. The anger that man felt entitled to display and my response to it. In our society, anger and masculinity are so intertwined. I hope to redefine that in my own life. That hit hard. So that I also picked up a lot of toxic masculinity in my life, trying to be more of a man. Now I find myself pretty fluid. I don't really have preference when it comes to pronouns. I don't really think about that stuff, and that's my own journey. But there's one thing that I do, or I feel much more tied to like my masculine energy, and masculinity and anger is very inclined. I think it took me so long to find the words, I guess, till this book, but I didn't. It's just interesting to hear that, because it is true. It's so hard to be a man or to tie into masculinity, because it is intertwined with so much anger, and I don't know where it's coming from, and it doesn't even have to be that way. So it really had me like, yeah, I'm trying to change that myself, you know? And it's good to hear that, like, hey, I acknowledge that this is a part of this like societal norm, and I can redefine it. I think that's fucking boss. That's a boss. Moving on. Page 134. We do not realize the extent of the energy we are losing until we find where it is seeping from. Invisible until it's not. A thought just out of reach. Only now do I understand just how much I was consumed. The degree to which my brain was taken by a desperate, insatiable need to control. A watchtower enforcing my own personal isolation. They said it very well themselves. I don't think we realize how much energy it's taking when you're feeding into your own negative like thoughts. I mean, I don't know. Oh, okay. I think reading the whole thing, I feel like I can't stop eating these chips. I have prolonged a lot of things thinking that it's better, even though it's like the most time energy consuming thing to repress your actual feelings, and you think you're doing a better job instead of just talking about it and acknowledging so you could kind of move forward. And it's like, nope. You're just like, nope, I'm just gonna repress. I'm just gonna be fine with it. I'm just gonna keep moving on. I'm just gonna be on survival mode. You don't realize how much energy you're actually taking away from yourself when you make moves like that. You know, I didn't have the severe isolation that Elliot Page has gone through, because that is rough. I was lucky enough to like be surrounded with people, but I think inside, even though I was with people, I still found ways to keep myself isolated in a lot of senses and kind of separated myself from a lot of people. So it's interesting to think how that is very fucking relatable. And it is an insatiable need to control. And it's awful to treat ourselves, like, you know, when you treat yourself like that, it is not popping. And I feel super sorry that, you know, someone I really thought was probably like this cool person, like hanging out all the time. I'm like, this person is so dope. And it's just in general, like, people feel this way genuinely, and it's so sad. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Like, some people have to realize themselves, and that's rough. It's like Stockholm syndrome with yourself or something. Moving on. If a part of you is always separate, if existing in your body feels unbearable, love is an irresistible escape. You transcend a sensation so indescribable that philosophers, scientists, and writers can't seem to agree on what the F is even is. If it is even. I wonder if I ever have actually experienced deep love. I feel as though I have. But is it real if you never were there? Have you numbed yourself to the truth? I mean, a lot of this book was hidden, but it's so sad. Like, reading this book, I had to really self-reflect a lot of the time, because I have so many walls, and I'm just like, why am I? And again, Elliot don't got all the answers. We all live different lives and experiences, and a lot of things we have to figure out on our own. But when you're able to read something and relate to it and have it trigger a thought and be like, whoa, I have numbed myself to so much. Like, if part of you is always separate. Interesting, because I'm going on this journey right now where I'm trying to make myself complete. I've separated myself, not just from people, but from myself. I am so scared all the time of letting anyone even near me. And and again, it goes back to like energy consuming. And I'm getting older now, and it's chipping away. It's chipping away at me. It's so hard to have this serious conversation with like ketchup chips dust all over you. I don't think people understand how severely you can numb yourself and make yourself think that your way of thinking and living is okay, even though it's not. And I'm not saying that there's no physical torment here or physical abuse to one's itself. God, I have ketchup dust all over me. It just scares me thinking about that. Like, if I was ever there, have I numbed myself to the truth? I don't want to know the answer to that, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm never gonna grow if I don't know the answer to that. and I have to really dig and understand myself so I don't have to feel this way anymore. And I don't want to be numb. I want to be able to feel things even if it's bad, but I just also want people to also understand me and be more open instead of so closed off. It's a lot. The last 2 lines that I read is very serious to me. So that's why I had to pick out not just the ketchup chips, but I thought it was a little silly. There's some laughs in here. Elliot got a sense of humor, you know what I'm saying? It's not all serious. You gotta enjoy life. We gotta talk about the ketchup dust. Anyway, there was like a funny part where Elliot's talking about, oh my god, this ketchup dust is gonna be all over this book that I borrowed from the library. So they're talking about this one night stand that they had, and it was just not a poppin' one night stand, but it was just funny because at the end, like looking back in retrospect, Elliot goes, oh, cocaine. I always forget about cocaine. And I thought that was, I don't know why, I just thought that was hilarious. I just feel like I also forget about cocaine. I've never done that stuff. I just forget that a lot of other people do that. Like most of the time I'm just like, oh, like this is a normal person. And then I find out that they're on cocaine and I'm like, oh. But I thought that was a funny little... Okay, hold on. We're close to the end of my notes. Chips review. Not as bad as I thought it would be. Not as bad. I think that they are pretty good, actually. Would I cop them? I had to get these sent from Canada, by the way. I would cop these. Maybe not often. Like, this is not like, yo, I gotta get the ketchup chips. Probably not. Like, if they're there, I would eat them. Like, I feel like, yeah, I would eat ketchup chips. Now that I know it, it tastes like a mild salt and vinegar with tomato. That makes sense because it's vinegary. But I don't like salt and vinegar chips because they're too vinegary. So this has less vinegar, a little bit of salty, but also has that ketchup taste. We're gonna finish this. Ketchup fingers and all, ketchup dust and all. 220. I always need to remind myself just how beneficial space can be. It can be agonizing, even if you are the one who initiates it. It is so easy to trick ourselves. I'd convinced myself communication was fine, healthy, mature. Yet no matter how much my brain understood those feelings, would lurk and disguise, whisper, and poke. My heart jonesing for more. It's so hard in any relationship to ask for space. I want to think that, oh, I'm an adult and we can handle this maturely and get through this and keep going. And I feel that sometimes that's the survival mode in us. Like, you just want to move forward. Like, no one wants to be sad or bummed out about anything. I don't want to apply a negative connotation with space anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if you need space from a friend, from your girlfriend, from your boyfriend, from whatever the heck, then that should be fine. I feel like that's a very hard thing for people. It's a very hard thing for people to understand because everything is so fast all the time. You get everything when you want, and space is not really an option when someone's just a phone call away. Like, it doesn't matter, or text away, or a lot of people have issues with taking space away or taking time away to fully reflect on any type of situation. That's like another serious line where I was like, yeah, like you really do trick yourself and you really want things to be okay, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's horrible that you have that good intention. I'm just saying it could be a little bit detrimental in the long run. On a relationship that Elliot had with someone who was also in another relationship, and then it was there's a lot of tea in this, by the way. I was like, oh, and you know me, sometimes I'd be gossiping about the celebs. No, but it was a fun little side story that ended really well, actually, because these people are fine with one another. You know what I mean? Like, after that breakup or whatever it was, they ended up still being cool with each other. 200 and page 252. When Jordan Peterson was let back on Twitter after he made a horrific tweet about me, he posted a video just his head filling the frame, staring menacingly into the camera, and he said, we'll see who cancels who. I hate Jordan Peterson. I think that man is a freaking nuisance to society. He is so annoying. I cannot stand him at all. I just could not accept the blatant disrespect and just all around hate from this loser guy who thinks he's so fucking cool for, I don't even know what he does. He's supposed to, oh wait, what, he has like a PhD or whatever, and I'm like, aren't you he's a psychologist. This guy's from Canada. How are you gonna hate on a fellow Canadian? What is your problem? Aren't Canadians supposed to be like super cool and you're being like the worst? Just I cannot say it enough. I hate that man. He's so awful. Like, you're supposed to be a psychologist, one of the most understanding people. Every single time I hear this man talk, I'm like, yo, you have rocks in your brain. Moving forward, because I feel like I could talk about this man all day and just curse him off and whatnot, but you don't want to give people attention who don't deserve. Where am I? I think 261. I had spent years and years figuring out all the tricks to avoid my feelings, to exit my body, to numb it out. Horrible how much I've been realizing when it comes to finding ways to not think about how I'm feeling. I don't want to think. I've been on survival mode for so long. I don't want to think about my stuff. I've tried so many ways to just not I don't want to care about my feelings, you know? And I don't want to do that anymore. At the end, it's so much more time consuming. It's so much more energy consuming than just handling it and moving forward and not being afraid. And I know getting to that point is so hard, but it's just as hard to just keep taking the hits, giving my energy and not moving forward from that. It's super rough. Hard and sharp, I struck myself with my knuckles. Surprised at my temerity, I glanced back down at my fist. Been there, done that. Punching yourself due to like just not being happy with yourself, just like physically harming. That's something that I have done other than verbally abuse myself. This is what happens when you're unhappy with yourself and you think that no one is gonna accept you for who you are, and you just end up really not liking yourself and finding ways to kind of deal with this pain, with this like feeling that you're feeling. And sometimes you need to do that physical stuff. Haven't done that in a long time, but I'm just saying I totally get why it was happening. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking when you physically abuse yourself, verbally or mentally abuse yourself, because you can do it. In my last video, like I said, no one's gonna hurt me more than I've already hurt myself, because I've said everything to myself that's awful. I've physically hurt myself. There's nothing you could do. But yeah, you get surprised. You're surprised at yourself still. You're like, damn, I could do that much to myself. It's wild. The last line here that I wrote down that kind of stuck out to me was, I am sick of creepy focus on my body and compulsion to infantilize, which I have always experienced, but nothing like this. And it isn't just people online or in the street or strangers at a party, but good acquaintances and friends. I've always said this to people. I hate when just in general, everyone should just have autonomy over their own body, and you shouldn't care unless they're hurting themselves or hurting others. It's none of your business. Just respect people. Like, off the bat, you should just respect everyone. Obviously, you're gonna learn things like, if I never met Jordan Peterson and I just saw him without knowing, I'd be nice to him. Well, after I learned about how awful he is, I'd probably treat him like shit. That should be the standard of everybody. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to care about anyone's life. Respect off the bat. You don't have to go digging or like judge them for their body. It doesn't matter what you think. Like, if it's not hurting you, it's not hurting them. It's none of your business. Why do you have this obsession with trying to control what other people do with their bodies, their minds, or whatever the heck they're trying to do? It doesn't matter. It's just so frustrating. And I can't even imagine what Elliot was going through, because I remember, again, I was a fan of Elliot Page's work. It's just, I remember him coming out as gay in 2014. I think it was like 2 years. I was in college by then or something. But I remember it wasn't that bad, but I do remember some backlash there. Mostly like people were okay with it, but I remember being super hyped because I was like, I knew it. I knew you were a part of the community one way or another. Like, I was super hyped. I was like, yeah, good for you, bitch. Live your life. I was super hyped. I was so hyped. There was backlash then. Very minimal though. I don't remember too much. With the whole whole Jordan Peterson thing, it was like another level of hate and harassment for no reason. Like, I just don't get it. Leave the person alone. They're living their best life. They're just trying to give back to themselves. This book really, it really does influence and help other people. I know Elliot does touch upon it. I know I've come from a place, I have money to do all this. Like, I have all this stuff. It's not easy. I feel bad for someone like me when you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, no, dude, you went through a lot of shit. We're fucking proud of you. Do you be happy? Anyway, that's the last. There's obviously like a lot more in this book that I really did enjoy. That's my review along with my Ketchup Chips review. This is like a coming of age type of book. It makes me, you know what makes, God, the library is gonna be like, yo, there's ketchup dust all over the book. Why? What was the rating? 3 out of 5? No, that was my last book. This book, I think, is a must read. Okay? It was really well written. Like, there was serious times. There was times where you could laugh. There was like a little bit of tea, reflect on their career a little bit. So I think that it's worth reading, especially just getting a little bit more insight, especially on a grander scale of what it's like to transition, or what it's like to feel don't belong in your body, or how you get treated by others, and that's family, friends, strangers, acquaintances, it's everyone. I think given the fact that Elliot Page has influenced my life a lot already, along with it being just like a really well-written book, along with it being entertaining, I would give it a 5 out of 5 for memoirs at least. Okay, not every memoir is good. It made me eat the ketchup chips. There's so much ketchup dust. It's nasty. I found myself not being able to put the book down at some points, and I think it's also like a learning experience, not just about this person's, like, I know that they're famous, but a learning experience and LGBTQ plus community in general. So if you do want to learn more, this could be a nice little entry or a light read for you. You could order ketchup chips online on Amazon and eat ketchup chips for the first time because they're only sold in Canada. And now I'm just stuck with like a couple bags of ketchup chips. I see you, Elliot. I get it. They're good. Canadians are supposed to support Canadians, and I'm a Canadian by heart, by spirit. I watched Trailer Park Boys. What I like about this, when I met coming of age, Alexa, how old is Elliot Page?
Elliot Page is 36 years old.
This is recent. Like, this transition is recent. So it actually gives me a lot more excitement, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm just like, oh, I'm getting old, like there's gonna be no time for me to change. But they had this realization in their 30s. It's never too late to take control of your life and to do what you want to do and what makes you happy. And I feel that that's maybe the biggest lesson of it all, that there is time to heal and forgive yourself and move forward and make yourself happy, and you can surround yourself with people who are going to support you. That's what you need to focus on. I was feeling really, there was a stir of emotions, good and bad. It made me focus on some of the wounds that I've been picking at. It made me happy at all of the things I did overcome. It made me curious about ketchup chips, so much to the point that I had to buy an entire box of ketchup chips. So book, 5 out of 5. PAGEBOY, 5 out of 5. Ketchup chips, you know, if it's there, I'll eat it. I'm not gonna go out of my way, but I'll eat it. Like, it's eatable. So that's it. That's the review. It didn't get as serious as I thought it would. I did reach out to my friend to see if we can collab on a book review. I think that'd be kind of cool. So hopefully they're down with that idea. And subscribe, like, and comment. Okay, guys, I lost a sub. So one day I'm gonna be famous. It's never too late. Never too late. All right. Anyway, thank you so much. Till next time, let me get all these ketchup chips out of the way. And yeah, that's it. This is it. I'm gonna watch this ketchup dust off of me. Look at this ketchup dust. Can you see it? I've been like rubbing it around.